All right, we will call the policy personnel subcommittee meeting to order. Thank you. At 5:35. Chair Bashaw is unable to attend. Chair Heather Ingham will be acting in her stead. We're going to review the minutes from 10:15:25.
Those I didn't bring with me. I totally forgot.
Okay, they're in our.
Because usually you guys do that.
They're in our email from Phyllis.
The link's not working for some reason.
Oh,
There it is. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 15th, 2025.
Second, any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Minutes have been approved. Our first policy for review is second read. It is GBCE, Training and Information Relative to Child Sex Abuse Prevention.
Okay, GBCE had a amendment that was talked about at the previous meeting. We went back and looked at notes. We added some wording that you see here in your packet in red. So the last sentence reads, such training shall be completed within 30 days of employment prior to unsupervised student contact and renewed every 2 years for all such employees, designated volunteers, and other persons. And the difference there was adding the words prior to unsupervised student contact, because there was a concern raised that somebody could be working for 29 days and not have done this training.
Yes.
And that would be bad.
Yeah,
so we just added that phrase. And I think this may be ready to go.
My only comment or concern, I haven't gone through all of them, but I did go through some. It's standard language in the RSAs within 30 days of employment, within 30 days of employment across trainings. And I just thought, why? And I tried to articulate last time, why is this one different? Why does this need special language different from the other training requirements?
Yeah, I can't speak to why the law is that way. I do know that this is what we do. Like we had somebody downstairs yesterday in an office watching all the vector trainings. Yeah. And then they have a discussion with Christine about some stuff to make sure that they have it, I think. But, this is what we do. So I don't think it really changes anything. I think going above and beyond what the state law is, and I'm not sure why they would do it that way.
Because
doesn't make sense to me in the public school system.
IJOC within 30 days of employment. I went through some of them, and that's just standard language. And maybe I'm wrong, but if there's a pattern, like here's all these trainings and they all have to be done within 30 days, except this one has to be before you sit in the classroom. I don't.
So I think what this one is, we have this at my employment, you have 90 days to get your employment done, but for you to be unsupervised with youth, you have to have particular certain training. So let's say for you to be in ratio or unsupervised, there's at least 5 trainings that have to be done first. And then the rest of them, you have the rest of the time. So usually when you say prior to unsupervised student contact, that means we put it that way because you cannot be alone with youth unless that one is completed. So like some of them, they should be completed in 30 days, but if someone's sick or something comes up and you have to reschedule, you have a little bit of like wiggle room usually, but the reason we usually put like prior to unsupervised is to be really clear, like these are the big safety ones.
So I'm looking at restraint right now to see if that one has it.
The other one we have tonight, GBCD, does.
Within
in the
days.
policy, it does. No, it actually says no covered person. This is in a different policy. No, just want to be clear for the record. No covered person / applicant shall be employed or extended a conditional offer of employment or begin service in the district until the superintendent or designee has initiated actually a CHRC.
Which one is that?
That would be GBCD Part D.
Okay.
Although it does say initiated, I thought it was going to say done. But once again, we don't put people in front of kids. Like Renee from the office is in front of me almost every day asking me to check because I'm the one that has to check with the state police records. So we don't do, once again, unless they've cleared, they're not with the kids until they clear. But your point is well taken.
Because then it's incumbent upon the administration to make sure this one's treated differently than others. Like, it's okay if you take this one after you start, but this one you need to, you know what I mean? It's incumbent, you know, it's gonna fall on you guys to make sure you.
Yep, and our general practice is everybody has to finish everything.
Which is what you said, especially for new hires, 2 weeks before school starts, they're all doing their vector training or whatever,
Yep.
so that.
And sometimes we're waiting.
Yeah.
So, do we have a motion to move this to second read to the board?
I'll make a motion to move it to the board for second read.
I will second. Any further discussion? All in favor? The next one is GBCD, background investigation and criminal history records check.
Change here that we made was I did speak to the union about the idea of having these renewed every 3 years. And their representative, not a member of the union, but somebody who works for the NEA. And that's our union for our paraprofessionals and for our professional staff. And she wrote back and said I could read this. I would not advise the association to agree to impose background checks on our bargaining unit members any more frequently than required by law. If this is something the board wants to propose during negotiations, we can more formally address at that time. We may be open to us discussing specific triggers that may be reasonable to support agreement on an earlier background check than required by law, but we would need to explore that more with you to see if that is viable and can be something that will be ratified by members. So they would push back on this as was anticipated in the last meeting. So my response to that was, I think we need to update the policy regardless. So I have presented you guys and eventually the board, presumably tonight, with just the removal of section K, and we approve the rest of the policy up to, I think it's actually section, remember this was numbered differently than the other ones.
So is section K.
We would just take out section K, which we added. That was not in the sample policy. So I believe the policy that's left, I'm almost sure, is straight out of the NHSBA.
So are you saying the union's gonna push back if we move forward with this as
Yes.
a board?
They definitely will.
And let's actually make a motion before we go into discussion. So I make a motion to move GBCD, background checks, criminal history, for second read to the board.
Second,
Okay, now we can do discussion.
any discussion, right?
So if we move it I guess my concern is we've had a lot of issues that have arisen.
Mhm.
The reason that the board wanted this was because our children's safety is our paramount. We respect and appreciate our staff, but I know firsthand things happen.
Yeah.
Things could happen outside of work that could affect them. And if we don't get notified, we're not going to know to background them check. So yes, if there is a trigger of something, we would background check people. But I think this is good. This is good practice for most organizations that work with youth and children. They do this pretty regularly, not like a one-time only. So I mean, maybe we can bring this to the larger board, but what would be, I guess, if we did push this and like, what could happen? Like, what is like worst case scenario?
I'm no labor lawyer, but I assume they could refuse and then argue that this is a change in working conditions, change in contractual agreements and so forth. We have the Teamsters Union up this year. We could negotiate this with them for this year, for next year's, that's the principals
Okay.
group. And then we have the teachers the year after that and the paras the year after that. It would just be a 3-year process to get it through with negotiation.
Could we do an MOU?
We can explore anything. Yeah, we
Okay.
can definitely explore an MOU with them. We could pass this and explore the MOU, or we could push this off again and wait. Once again, this is what we do. We do these background checks before kids are, and if they don't clear the background check, they don't go
But
in
it's a
front of kids.
one-time only.
At the first time, we don't do we don't do them over and over.
That's what
again.
I'm
We
saying,
definitely
like,
do. Everything above this, we do.
Okay.
A through J, we do. We don't do K.
okay, I guess I do want to bring this to the board this evening to talk about the removing of K and what our options are moving forward, because I feel pretty strongly about this.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know-
fine, yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are, Ken.
No, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can maybe, I can more formally meet with Nicole, their representative, or I think a board member coming along for the ride on that would be a good idea.
Okay.
Just to express your concerns about it and ways that, and union leadership at the school level and see what they think about that. So
Okay,
I'm good with
all
that.
Thank you. All right, GBCDE background, I guess this one we
You
can't.
have to vote on moving it to the board.
Oh, so, we already made a motion, all in favor of moving it to the board? All in favor, thank you. So we can't repeal this one until we agree.
Yeah, you can't do E until you do the full policy. So
All
once again, this is just a list of the section 5 offenses that are referred to in a different way in the new policy than they were in the old one. If the new one passes, this policy becomes
Okay, so then we're
not
gonna
necessary nor relevant.
basically hold on this until we decide what we're doing with GBCD.
Yeah, and it's been in front of the board like 4 times, and we pushed it off all 4 times, which is understandable.
Okay, well then we will move to JICJ where you made an amendment.
Yes. So when we passed this originally, nobody noticed, including the guy who wrote it, that'd be me, that the last part D was missing some words. So it used to read, the superintendent shall periodically review this policy in collaboration with parents and teachers and make recommendations for policy changes to the school board as needed, or I don't know how was it? I'm reading this wrong because I wrote it again. I haven't looked at this in a couple days. Basically, the sentence was chopped off at the end. There was no full sentence at the end of this.
Okay.
Here's what it said. Recommendations for policy changes to the school board no later than each school year, or no later than of each school year. So there's clearly a date was supposed to be put in there,
Yeah.
and it was missing. I'm mumbling a little bit here, but the way it would read now, it would say, and make recommendations for policy changes to the school board as needed.
Okay.
So it would leave it basically as we need it. Right now, the policy is working very well at the schools, from what I understand. I'm getting maybe 2 or 3 references through our system for kids every day. And generally, I think the administration is reporting some good positive stuff on this particular policy. So it's just cleaning up that last paragraph.
So would we move this to the board to be amended?
Yes, I would recommend that we put this as a first and second read because it's just cleaning up some language mistakes we made when we passed this back. So we passed this back in August.
Okay. I make a motion to move JICJ to the board for first and second read due to the amendment.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? All right.
Done.
Any public comment?
Hearing none.
All right, do we have a next meeting, policy meeting?
Hopefully on December 3rd, I'll have JRA, which is the best interest provision and manifest hardship, which had a slight change in process, but of course the whole policy changes because we have to do that. And maybe 1 or 2 other quickies that are just renewals of some old policies.
Okay, so then we have a tentative meeting date of December 3rd, 2025 at 5:30. That will be posted by the clerk a week before to confirm. Anything else?
Good for me.
All right, we will adjourn at 5:48.